what's up, you guys? It is the 360 Marketing Squad. What is up? Hi! All right, you guys, so today we're talking about all the latest trends in social media. I don't know about you, but my girl and Amanda and I, there's people that are just riding our eggshells, and we think that's gotta stop. That's not okay. So we're talking about everything that's happening in social media, and we want to get your opinion on it. So we've got a lot of things to chat about. I'm here in sunny San Diego. Mike, you are in.
I brought my own egghead.
Oh my goodness.
From St. Louis.
Amanda?
I am sitting in Lexington, Kentucky right now, and I'm being from Canada and trying to get away from the snow by traveling around the United States as a little digital nomad. There is snow here. There's snow. That is not okay. That was not in the brochure when I chose Lexington, Kentucky right now in January, whatever month we're in.
You are
That's
awesome.
the most irritated egg I've ever seen.
The saddest egg ever.
Don't go cracking my shell.
Oh. Don't throw yolk in her face. All right, Jen, where are you?
I am in Anaheim in a hotel again. I feel like I've adapted this digital nomad lifestyle, like my girl Amanda over there. I was speaking at the NAMM conference up here at the Anaheim Convention Center, and so it's my fault that we're doing this an hour later than usual today, you guys. But this way we're all here, so it's amazing.
That's true. That's true. All right, so let's go ahead and kick this off. Who wants to go ahead and talk about what is happening in social media? Who wants to take it first?
Wait, can I seriously ask? Are we going to egg face this entire thing, or are we going to swap?
I think we could swap.
Can I swap lenses?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Then you guys think of it. I'm
want.
going to swap lenses.
Basically,
Perfect.
Amanda said, "You guys actually run the show. I will be playing with Snap Camera."
Yeah.
Well, okay. First up, let's talk about the Fire Festival. Who has watched that?
Hey.
There you go.
There we go.
So I'm the crazy person who doesn't have Netflix. I know I'm like the one person on the planet who doesn't. So I haven't watched it, but I've heard so much about it. I feel like I've seen the whole thing.
All right, and Mike, you know, Mike made like a. I note his opinion after watching Fire Festival, and he said you're just gonna have to wait until 6 o'clock Eastern. So guess what, Mike? It's 6:02. Go.
Well, it's funny because I think you're gonna have to repeat that because the internet connection in hell kind of automated your voice. They don't have a strong Wi-Fi connection. So wait, what'd you just say?
All right. Maybe I should kill the Snap Camera. What do you think?
No, you're good. Go for it.
I'm good. Okay. So, Mike, I would love to hear you kick us off with your lovely opinion of the Fire Festival or the Fire.
Yeah, well, let me get everybody caught up, right? Okay, because this was a festival that actually happened like 2 years ago. But there were two documentaries, one on Netflix, one on Hulu, that both dropped last week that clued a lot of people into what happened 2 years ago. It made big news, and some people knew about it. A lot of people knew about it at the time. But there was this big festival, supposed to happen on an island in the Bahamas, and it ended up being a total disaster. From beginning to end, people were stranded on the island. They had no food. They had water. They were standing in lines for hours and hours and hours waiting to get into their villas, which were actually tents. It was terrible. The guy who ran the whole thing, he's now in prison for investor fraud and all kinds of other issues. So that's what happened. I did watch the Netflix version, as Amanda asked me to.
After much pleading. After much begging.
After much pleading. This is not the kind of programming I would typically watch, and mostly because it's about people that I can't relate to. And there was a lot of people involved in this story. There were the people that were planning the so-called festival to begin with, and then there were the people that were attending, and there were the influencers that got involved. And so there was a lot of layers to this story. And like I said, very few of them could I relate to. And I consider myself an influencer. I actually run the influencer marketing program for Agorapulse. So I do work with influencers, but not these kinds of influencers, right? Yeah. These were models. These were lifestyle influencers. Steph, you'll appreciate this. These were plastic people. As we tend to call them. Yes, plastic people. So I thought it was interesting. Obviously, I was kind of disgusted at what happened. I was disgusted at the planners and how they. It was hard to tell how authentic they were being in the conversations that were being filmed in the documentary and the stories that were being related. And by that, I mean, it seemed like they really wanted to put on a festival. It seemed like they really wanted to have real bands there and have a real good time for everybody involved. And yet, we know that at the same time, at least the guy who was in charge, Billy McFarland, am I getting that right?
Yeah.
Was embezzling or scamming or stealing money or all this kind of stuff because people weren't being paid, but investors were putting up a lot of money. People were paying tons of money. People spent thousands of dollars for the opportunity to go to the island. And then as the days were leading up to this festival, they were sent these little wristbands, like Disney wristbands, and they were told to put thousands of dollars on the wristband so they could pay for all these extra experiences that were going to happen on the island. So all this money came in, and yet they didn't have villas, they didn't have food, they didn't have water, they didn't have basic necessities and those kinds of things. So that money all went someplace. And so the whole thing was very shady. Obviously, I'm sure half of you are confused by my description of it because it's just so crazy trying to understand how and why all of this happened. So that's my unvarnished impression.
What did you think of the whole outcome of it though? Like everything, like not just like the Netflix thing, but in terms of, I mean, that it's what drugged up so much conversation about influencer marketing, marketing in general, how the whole campaign was used, how it was easy to let people think something was going to happen that totally was not even close to happening. So what was your take on all of that?
Well, that's again where we're going to have some nuance because some of the articles that I've read, for instance, that have totally not only bashed the festival, but they've bashed the influencers that were involved and the models that were involved, kind of go too far, right? Because, if you're a model and you're asked to come to an island and you're asked to, talk about a festival that's going to happen 6 months down the road, how could you possibly know that that's not going to happen? Right? You couldn't possibly know that. So there's a lot of extra onus and blame that's being put on them that I don't necessarily think is appropriate. At the same time, there's an interesting take, which is to show that despite the obvious failure of the festival overall, influencer marketing worked.
Yeah.
There would not be any of this conversation about Fyre Festival had not there been influencers talking about it on social media and building up that buzz.
True, and I love that you kind of hit the nail on the head right there. Influencer marketing. So I would love us to scratch the surface on both sides of this conversation. One side is how I haven't watched the Hulu documentary. I've only watched the Netflix one. At how much it has kind of tainted or left a bit of a stain on the whole concept of influencer marketing, and on how on the flip side, how it's brought this whole conversation of influencer marketing to light. And this has been a hot topic this week. I mean, the documentary dropped at the beginning of the week, and social media has lit up, kind of like I'm on fire right now. It's a hot topic. And why is it a hot topic for us in the digital marketing and social media industry? Well, influencer marketing is a top topic for 2019. It is how a lot of marketing agencies, a lot of marketing tactics are shifting into actually getting results in this completely noisy social media and digital marketing environment. So influencer marketing is critical right now in 2019 as a component to be able to being heard. But then this documentary drops and it just causes an explosion of fire around this Fyre Festival and on basically painting a really bad name for influencer marketing. So I think that influencer marketing is kind of like a big rainbow. There are many colors, many sides to it. And it's not just a clean cut, like Mike was saying, these plastic people. There are influencers who, range from everything from, a stay-at-home mom who has her own YouTube channel in a small niche group to these supermodels who have, millions and millions in reach and influence. But the cool thing, I think, is how, that did happen 2 years ago. It's now coming to light now. But there have been some major changes in how influencer marketing is called out and identified and a little more transparent in the terms of social media and when it comes to posting. And I know Jen is very familiar with that when it comes to Instagram.
Well, and that's a thing too, where I think in our industry, we were all really aware of the Fyre Festival when it happened and when it went down, and we were all really aware of the circumstances. I think the Netflix and Hulu documentaries are making influencer marketing a mainstream conversation, versus this is a conversation that we've been having in the industry for 2 years, where this is something that there has been consistently more and more issues. There have been articles, from a lot of hotels abroad who get all these endless applications from these influencers who want to come and stay at their hotel for free because they're going to post it on Instagram. And the hotel's like, that doesn't pay, housekeeping, and that doesn't pay the, the valet staff, and that doesn't pay my restaurant staff. And all of these components that go into running a hotel are not paid for by you posting to Instagram 3 times for a free vacation. And so this has been something that has been going on in our industry for a while, but I think this documentary just brought it to the forefront, where now everyone thinks they're an expert on influencer marketing. And to Amanda's point, this was something that happened 2 years ago. And since then, our industry is actually really smart to it. And a lot of brands don't work with just any influencer. They want ROI and data and information behind all of that. When you say, hey, partner with me and I will, promote your product or your service or your business, companies are like, okay, prove it. What have you done before? What campaigns have you done? What ROI have you done? How much website traffic have you generated? How many conversions have you generated? How much are you charging? No, we're not going to pay that much. No, we're not going to give you this much. We'll give you a free spa day. We're not giving you a whole weekend vacation. People and businesses have gotten smart to the whole process. And I think that's where we're seeing not necessarily less influencer marketing, because it's definitely still prevalent, but we're seeing smarter influencer marketing, and people are definitely much more in a business perspective. It's, contract based. It's putting it down in writing and saying, in exchange for this, you will post 3 times. You will, give us your data analytics from the post afterwards, so we see how the post performed. And there's much more, strategy versus, oh, hey, we can give this person free product and get a bunch of free exposure and not have any expectation out of it. So and I know we have, we can get into all the, legal side of it in terms of, the FTC regulations and all that kind of stuff. But that's also finally caught up to it too, where in the past, it was kind of a free-for-all, like people just did what they want. But now the FTC requires that you state that it is a sponsored post, or that it's an affiliate link, or those sorts of things. And that's required by law. It's not a nice to have. This is a legitimate required by law situation. But beyond that, it's Facebook has their partnership program. So if you are going to literally partner with another company, you are actually supposed to have the partnership agreement in place, which means both of your accounts are tagged in that post and you both see the analytics from the post. And it says in partnership with so-and-so, because they are trying to combat this and build this. And not that I think any of this would have necessarily impacted the Fyre Festival any differently, but I think that helped lead to the circumstances that we see now in the world of, influencer marketing and the legal side of it.
Absolutely.
Love it. So from a marketing perspective, as an agency, where a lot of agencies do influencer marketing and they're scared of getting a little bit of yoke on their face, how do you prove that you are a real marketing agency with real influencers that you can work with? What should brands be looking for?
For me, and I'm literally standing at a conference where I got this question 3 times today.
So you should know this.
Influencers. How do I grow my account? But one of the things is it's looking for that tangible ROI. So when someone is either, they're pitching you and saying they want to, either be an influencer, or if you're looking for an influencer, you want to look for that ROI from that influencer that says, what is, not just their follower count, but what's their engagement? What's that ratio of engagement? What type of engagement are they getting? Do they have 6,000 likes and 10 comments, or do they have an average of, a balance of comments and questions and things that are dialogue that are happening in that post, where it's not just great shot, nice photo, but there's actual real comments and questions, and then there's dialogue from the quote influencer in response. There's actual conversation, there's community involvement. And then how that translates, what is their website traffic? If they're using bit.ly links or some sort of trackable link that says, when I ran this campaign, I generated 3,000 clicks to this campaign in 3 days, or, whatever it is, if you can show those tangible metrics, then it's worth to say, okay, this is something that would be of value to me to potentially work with. And that's going to lead to X number of conversions, which is worth X number of dollars. I'm willing to pay this person X number of dollars to do it. But it has to be that kind of relationship, not just one of those things where, oh, look, they have 500,000 followers on Instagram. Great, I'm going to go partner with them, because that means potentially nothing. And I'm not going to say the person's name, but there's a speaker that I have met who prides herself on being an influence marketer. And she's like, oh, and I work with this brand, and like she works with big companies, like national banks and like big organizations in the US. But it's like she has all of these accounts and clients, and I'm like, how, like, what else do you post? Like, if you're doing influencer marketing for all of these major organizations, every single one of your posts has to be promotional. Like, when do you get to be you? When do you talk about your own life and build your brand as your own brand, and not just as a constant megaphone for everybody else?
That's true.
And I'm not saying that she doesn't get results for those companies, because she does, but at some point you got to start looking at her content and being like, all you ever do is promote other people. Okay, it might be working, but why? Like, what? Like, what's in it for me at that point? So there's a lot of different aspects you want to look at from those influencers to validate what they can really do for you.
Awesome.
What I think we're seeing a lot of agencies do is shift to micro influencers, right? They've lost the appeal for, like you said, these 250,000, 500,000, million follower type influencers, and they're looking towards moms and other local influencers, and what we call micro influencers, people with hundreds to thousands of followers, but they're highly targeted, right? If you have a celebrity as an influencer, anybody in the world could be following that particular celebrity, whether they're your target audience as a business or not. Whereas if you find somebody that's in your space, in your niche, and they're talking to your target customers, that's going to be much more valuable to you and less expensive.
And I always say that, like, when it comes to like the mommy space, like, there's how many millions of mommy bloggers out there. But when it really comes down, and like those mommy bloggers have hundreds of millions of, website traffic and followers, and they have huge audiences. But when it comes down to it, when it comes time for me to buy a new car, who am I going to ask? I'm going to ask my friends who have cars and say, why did you buy that car? Do you like it? Did you go with the minivan? Did you go with the SUV? Did you go with the crossover? Like, what did you do and why? I'm not going to go to the mommy blogger who I know is getting compensated to write these reviews for, exactly, show me the money. Like, they're totally being compensated for that review, and most of the time they're not going to leave a bad review because they are being paid to do so. I'm going to go to my friend and be like, so why did you sell that car and get this one? What was the deciding factor? Because chances are that's going to be more valuable to me, and that's the power of the micro influencer. Those are the people who don't have the huge audiences, but that have real experiences and real input that is of more value to your customer.
P.S. by the way, shout out to Daniel, who literally just left a comment and said, show my comment on the screen or I'll never watch again.
All right, bring that up. That's amazing.
We did. Here, you know what? I want to throw it up on the
That's
screen.
all it takes.
And then let's all just point to it. Like it's in the center of the screen.
I don't pointing.
So Mike and Amanda are going to point up.
Oh.
There, Daniel. There you are, Daniel. Rawr. No. He says yay. He's happy.
Oh, Mike, no.
Okay, so what else is happening in social media? Because we totally Oh, okay, go for it.
Before we move on past the Fire Festival, one of the things that I wanted to point out was how this has skyrocketed to the forefront of discussion right now, even though it's something that occurred a couple of years ago. And a couple of years ago, it kicked off a lot of change in how, say, you put attribution on your posts, whether you call out sponsors or that sponsor relationship in posts, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And then I also wanted to give a big shout out to Brian Fanzo. If you've been watching any of his content lately, he is, I'm sure we're going to see something pretty big come out from him. He's fired up, pardon the pun, over this entire thing. He speaks on millennial marketing, and millennials are being attacked in really negative light because of this. Being considered, when you look at the stupidity of some to spend that volume of money to go to this festival that never really, came to fruition. But he does have a good counter argument or some insights on the other side. So I'm very excited to see what he is going to come out with and how it impacts the influencer industry and how it impacts everybody going forward. Because I think there's a difference between the stir that this caused when it first went down to the changes that we have already seen in the industry. And now this information kind of getting drummed up in a really big explosive way because of these documentaries. I'm very curious to see if it's going to further shape those influencer marketing relationships in a positive way or in a negative way. So I'm very curious to see if this is going to be a fork in the road. And I just wanted to give a shout out because I know he's got a lot of content coming down the pipe there.
Love it. Well, good. And it's funny because we cross-posted the live stream to all of our different pages.
I know.
And everyone's like, which one am I watching here? Sorry, you guys. It's on the 360 Marketing Squad. All right, cool. So much has happened.
I'm watching it's over on mine, so you're good.
Good. Okay, cool. So along with the Fire Festival, a lot of other things have happened as well. Let's talk about the Mark Zuckerberg Wall Street article that he penned. I think that would be a good conversation. Mike, I saw your ears like perk up real quick. Sounds like you got something to say.
Well, there's been a lot that's come out with Facebook this week. The one kind of caveat that's spun out of that interview and some of the other news developments with Facebook is this merging of Messenger, WhatsApp, and Instagram messaging, which has been talked about quite a bit today, in fact, and is actually making lots of waves inside those organizations. Essentially, the WhatsApp crew, they're all quitting, essentially, because they don't want to be involved. They don't want their app, their baby, and I understand it, folded into Facebook. But what Mark wants to do is have one seamless, integrated, encrypted platform across all the private messaging, which, again, this goes to the larger message that he's trying to convey, which is that Facebook is dedicated to helping us with our privacy and the concerns, and they're dedicated to being transparent in what's actually happening on the platform.
And I want to, so I know Kelly Noble Mirabella had a really good write-up on this. She really, and to be completely honest, I've been at a conference all day. I have not read the article, so I'm going entirely off of everyone's opinions that I have read on Facebook, not what I've actually read in an article. So I might be off base in some of my interpretations of things. But she had a really good perspective from the fact that they're not necessarily trying to make it all one app. It's just going to run on one platform, meaning that, like you were saying, the encryption, the stability, the fact that everything will have some kind of, there'll be, similarities maybe, and maybe some of the apps, will change in how they're operated, but it's going to give a better transition of information because it will be fully encrypted from, end to end. So the privacy concerns that everyone has with Facebook and Instagram and that sort of stuff, because right now WhatsApp is encrypted as far as I know, but the other two are not to the same level. So this would provide that same level of encryption to all of them. And to Kelly's point, now granted, she is a chatbot person, but to that point, it's going to allow that opportunity for the things that you do on WhatsApp, you could do on Facebook or Instagram. The things that you currently do on Facebook, you could do on WhatsApp and Instagram. So right now, where there's 3 different interfaces and 3 different functionalities and different functions on each of those, now you would have that in a more seamless global application. So you could run chatbots on WhatsApp or on Instagram. There's integrations that, things that happen on WhatsApp and the reason people use it is because it's not Facebook, and it does have different functionality, but they could move some of that functionality to Facebook or to Instagram. So, and even like Instagram, I mean, you guys know, I'm obsessed with the the live chat feature on Instagram compared to Messenger live chat. When you try to do the group chat on Facebook Messenger, it's not nearly as good a quality as what they have on Instagram, which is crazy because they're literally the same company. But if they can streamline that and make all of that better for the end user, I think there is an advantage. But there is still that concern that so many people, and I don't know if you guys get to see what somebody's doing, but I'm trying so hard not to laugh at this. Steph is playing with the snap camera and she's killing us over here.
No, this chat, it won't go away. It's just... It heard you talking. Chatbot. It heard you talking about chatbots, and then chatbots. Okay, go Jen, go.
Go Jen, go. But it is one of those things where people use WhatsApp because it's not Facebook, and they don't want to be on Facebook, and they want to do something different. So in terms of how they make it so that each app still has its happy place where people like to use it and they don't feel like Instagram is now Facebook or whatever, app they don't want to use. I will be really curious to see how the rollout takes place, really curious to see what that means for the end user. But with most things, I'm trying to take the optimistic approach. I'm trying to look at it the way Kelly looked at it, which is in a very positive light, that it's good for marketers, that it should be good for safety and security for end users, that this is a development and growth, and this is something we have to accept. But of course, there's always that skeptical side that goes, but how is this really going to work?
Yeah, okay, so help me understand this for those that didn't even hear about the announcement, haven't read about it yet. From what I heard is that it's just going to be the messaging portion of it is going to be integrated. So if someone messages me on Instagram, I could still see it on Facebook, or if I'm on WhatsApp, it's all there. I don't have to open up 4 different apps to see it. Is that what I'm hearing?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think I think we're speculating at this point.
Yeah.
I would expect that's not the case, that it wouldn't it's not a merging of the apps. So I don't necessarily think that the apps would talk to each other independently. It's just that I think they would all be riding on the same platform, and to Jen's point, that we would be able to finally get the benefit of all of the features that we get to experience on one app versus the other, as well as the encryption, which would be lovely.
Well, here's a really good question, and I'll read it for you guys. It's from Jim, and Jim says, do you feel like sometimes that Facebook is trying too hard to be all things to all people? What are your thoughts about that?
I'd love to jump in a little bit on my opinion here. It's hard to give an opinion on something that is so large. As in, my take on this is that Facebook has built a beast. They've built something that is bigger than Facebook can even control. They've built something that, you can build something that has logic, and on paper and in theory, these things work. But the reality is there's a human element to it. So you can build something with fantastic intention, and then you can have it hijacked by people wanting to do no good with it, whether that be spamming, whether that be skewing political results, whether that be pushing a vigilante agenda. I don't know. There are so many ways that the human element can take advantage of these tools. Now, that's understandable when you have isolated little tools, but when you have something that has gone as global as Facebook and as big as Facebook, I think it's bigger than Facebook can even control or even address all of the different issues that go along with how far reaching their influence is globally. So I don't even think Facebook knows how to keep everybody happy, still be a profitable company, still run good business, and not look like they're, being privacy pirates.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a hard question to answer, because most of the time I always tell people, if you're speaking to everybody, you're speaking to no one. I literally say that over and over again, because you do want to target your specific audience and what they need and give them what they want, and you can't possibly keep everybody happy. But with 2.2 billion active users, they kind of have everybody. They can't do we're only going to make these people happy, because they have everybody. And they have to think globally. It's not just North America, it's global. And there are rules and restrictions and laws in other countries that they have to adhere to, because they're functioning in those countries. And different cultures have different levels of expectation in terms of what that looks like in how they communicate and what they want to share and what they expect to see. And so he kind of has to, Zuckerberg, Facebook in general, has to kind of appeal to everybody, and they have to try to keep everybody happy. In that process, they have to do what's right by the law. And if the law says you have to do these things, or if the law is going in that direction, they have to do those things in preparation for that. He can't really be like, well, I know you guys want this, but the law says I have to do that, so I'm just going to ignore the law and make you guys happy. That's not an option. And these laws, everything from the Cambridge situation, everything with GDPR, everything with California, those are just the big things that we've heard of late. These are only going to happen more and more and more. And Facebook is trying to, I think, be more precautionary in how they approach these things rather than reacting to it when they happen. They're trying to come in there and prevent the security concerns and everything that happened with these other situations by already having those security procedures in place, changing their functionality to embrace these laws that will most likely come. And in doing so, they're going to make us unhappy. So if you don't like it, leave the platform. But no one's leaving Facebook. Everyone that threatens to leave Facebook, they really don't. Or if they do, it's like, okay, we still have 2.2 billion other people.
Bye, Felicia. Bye, Felipe. Mike, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting question, and the challenge that we've been kind of skirting around is the fact that Facebook as a business, Facebook as an organization is different. In the history of mankind, we haven't had this kind of a business. You can look at other social networks. There's similarities there for sure. But beyond that, you're going to be at a loss. So a good analogy, and this isn't a metaphor, this analogy would be the automotive industry. Take a company like Ford, who started hundreds of years ago, right? And they started with one vehicle, the Model T. Well, what did they do over the years to stay relevant, to stay in business? They added additional models, which in Facebook's perspective would be adding additional features. Okay, not everybody wants to do live video. Not everybody wants to participate in groups, but some people can. Some people choose to do that. Some people choose to buy a Mustang and a Ford Explorer because that fits their lifestyle and their family needs. So that's what Facebook's trying to do by adding these additional features, taking things away, changing certain things. You know, in addition to compliance with the regulations, like Jen just said, they're trying to stay relevant on a global stage. And that's what's so hard for us as individuals to understand, because I only understand my stage. This is what I want right here. And that's all I care about, right? Is what do I want? What do my clients want? That's it. I don't live overseas. I don't live in other countries. And it's hard for me to understand the culture, the needs, the day-to-day things that are happening that Facebook, frankly, as an organization can help with in some ways.
It's interesting because when I was in Cayman Islands, there's a lot of tourists that travel over there and they don't have the same data plans, and a lot of them used WhatsApp. That was like my first instance of, well, oh, I should be using WhatsApp. This is how I get into communication with other businesses. With the conference organizer was like, download WhatsApp. I was like, oh, okay, was not even thinking about that.
Exactly. Yeah, WhatsApp is huge in South America.
Mm-hmm. Especially in Asia too. So there's another announcement that Facebook had, and it was the Facebook page quality. Have you guys played around with this just yet? Amanda, you?
I finally got access to it today. And that's expected because they announced it yesterday and it's rolling out globally today. So if you have a Facebook page and you go to your Facebook page, you'll notice along the top, you have sort of like admin tabs where you have your settings, you have your info tab, and now you're going to find a new quality tab, page quality. And this is a really neat area where you're going to hopefully be able to see if you have any sort of strikes against you on your page as far as quality of that page goes. I don't know all of the nitty-gritty ins and outs and details. The good news is, I mean, when I log in and I look at it on my page, it's just a whole lot of blank. There's nothing exciting in there, which is probably a good thing.
That is a good thing. That is a good thing, because I was sitting in a client meeting with UC San Diego today, and I was like, oh, and P.S., by the way, there's the Facebook page quality tab, and we took a look at it, and we had 0 strikes. You know, we didn't have any alerts that any of the content that we were pushing out there was false news or fake news. Because if you guys don't know this already, but like any of the news outlets that's putting stuff out there, Facebook went ahead and they hired a whole like thousands and thousands of people to go ahead and be independent fact checkers. And if they look at your article and they find that there's mistakes in it, there's errors, there's fraudulent reporting, they'll go ahead and just like nick that out of the butt. And what happens is that if you do get those strikes on your pages, your page will either have diminished in terms of its page reach, or your page altogether will just be unpublished. So I think as marketers, what will be really important for us is that for those that are curating content from other news sites, maybe RSS feeds, maybe you have an intern that's just pulling stuff without really fact checking, make sure that that is now a part of your process. Because Amanda and I, we were geeking out. We're like, okay, new audit report template. We need to add in the page quality. And, you know, how do we get alerted of this? And I'm going to ask this to you, Mike, because you're a part of Agora Pulse. Is this going to be something that Agora Pulse will be monitoring down the line?
That would be awesome. And that really depends on two things. And this answer is no matter what feature we're talking about. It depends on, number one, what does the platform let us do? They have these things called APIs, right, which make the platform data, in this case, Facebook page quality control data, available to third-party tools. So that's got to be the first step. If there's no API for it, no third-party tool can do anything. And then the second thing, always from a business perspective, is what's the demand, right? If we have a lot of customers who are dealing with this on a day-to-day basis and they're asking for it, then absolutely, any tool would love to help along those lines. Now, one of the points I made yesterday on a similar show where we were talking about this topic was that everyone needs to know that this is only visible to you as the page owner. So me coming to Amanda's page, I can't see this tab. I can't see if any of her content's ever been flagged. I just see her regular posts the way that they ought to be. So this is for our own internal benefit, which means, frankly, it's only for the people who care about being legitimate, who care about being honest and that sort of thing with their posts.
Challenge that a little bit.
Yeah.
Because in talking about influencer marketing, where I would say if I'm going to work with an influencer, I'm going to be like, show me your quality tab on your page. I want to see what you're doing. Like, so even though I'm the only one who can see it, people can ask me for it if they want to partner with me or work with me to make sure that I'm somebody trustworthy, at least in that perspective. Because again, this is one of those situations where we've all had these circumstances come up in various situations where you think you know somebody online, and then you find out that's really not how they do business, or that's not really how they operate.
Wait. Because
who are we talking about?
Wait. I'm gonna go off on a tangent real quick because we've been super serious. But have you ever been to a meetup, like you met someone in real life and they did not look like their profile picture, and you're like, what? That's you, Ed?
What?
That's
not
you? That's like, not you.
That was you 50 pounds ago and 5 years ago.
I'm using a Snapchat filter right now. This is
It's the Mike Dalton style. Can we get one of those and we can all be Mike Dalton on the next show?
That's right.
But no, so I think to the point that, it is something only you can see. Mm-hmm. It's still something that other people could request. So that, or it could be some sort of validation tool for you in different environments as well. So if you're looking to partner with somebody, or, especially because a lot of this has to do with the political spectrum, a lot of this does have to do with, all of the whole rigging of all the elections, not just in the US, but overseas as well. This could be something that politicians have to disclose. You could be that, say, okay, fine. Show us your quality tab on your Facebook page. Are you really sharing quality content with your audience, or are you out here sharing a whole bunch of fake news? It's been proven to be fake news in hopes of bolstering yourself with your audience. So there's ways that could be used in a more public forum if people choose to ask for it in the right way.
Well, it's my hope that it becomes transparent. Just like right now, you can go to a page and see what ads they're running. That's now become 100% transparent. I would hope that this too becomes transparent, and you even have to ask.
Well, and just from an advertiser perspective, I'd like to share my insights on even recently, the Digital Gal, who is the Facebook ads expert, who has just recently launched a Facebook ads training course, had her ad account shut down for violating Facebook's something. But whatever they felt like I violated this week. But I'm an up and up advertiser. I'm not doing any shady business practices. I'm not doing anything, on the down low. And anyhow, sometimes, not sometimes, especially now that Facebook is really starting to crack down on privacy and really starting to get more particular, they have the ability to shut you down and leave you sitting there going, I don't know what I did, because it's such a gray area, it's such a gray zone. So I really think that this new page quality tab is really going to be helpful for you as an advertiser to start to understand if you're doing things that are kind of hitting on that violation, or where a fact checker or where an actual human has gone in and said, you know what, this is against our community standards. And where I really see that coming in handy, there's a huge boom right now in the cannabis industry. With Canada legalizing it back in October, we're seeing lots of different businesses pop up who are legitimate businesses. They're offering legitimate products. And I'm starting to see it as a moderator in all sorts of different Facebook groups, helping to support entrepreneurs, business owners, and Facebook advertisers, that they're getting their ad accounts shut down. They're getting a giant slap on the wrist. And a lot of them are sitting there going, I don't know what I did. But if you actually take the time to read Facebook's terms of service, you are touching on things that violate Facebook's terms of service, whether it's a violation in your own native country, whether it's a violation of your own native laws and regulations. It doesn't matter. It's what Facebook, the rules that Facebook sets out. So I think that this quality tab is really going to help you as an advertiser get a better understanding of if you're getting strikes against you or if you're doing something wrong, rather than just having your account shut down on the spot and you having no idea why and no idea how to correct it or become a better advertiser yourself, how to produce better quality content, and how to just play by Facebook's rules, which are very gray. And it's very difficult, even for those of us who know what we're doing.
Very true. And it's funny because we're seeing this Facebook page quality tab from a marketer's perspective. And I don't know if you guys know this, but on the consumer side, if you actually see, you know, a news article in your news feed and you're just like, that sounds like clickbait, there's an option where you could hover over the photo and then it'll let you know that it has been fact checked on whether or not the site that it's published on is actual, like a real website that you should go ahead and follow. And I shared that with my client today. They're like, I didn't know that, right? So it's interesting because she's then said, okay, I get the page quality for my business page, but can we do that for friends too? Can we do that for friends that are just sharing bullshit? Oh, did it? I was so good on the show.
We've been doing so good. It's been PG right up until now.
And then Stephanie talks. It's all good.
It's very juicy.
Oh my God. Oh God. Okay, I love
it. Okay.
I'm dead. Mike, go.
So what else? Oh, well, there was one other aspect to that news story from Facebook, which is that they're also working harder to make sure that, because you talked about pages that get flagged too much, they're going to get unpublished, right? Well, what's to stop a scammer or a spammer from just creating a whole other page, right, and redoing everything and duplicating that across multiple pages? Well, Facebook's going to work harder to make sure that that doesn't happen, so that once they identify an organization that has been spreading fake news or spamming content in some way, they're not able to just kick off another page and start to pick up where they left off.
I wonder.
You know what? I want to jump in on that. I'm really excited about this. Well, excited in a good way and bad way. So the reason that it's got me all hyped up is that you, as a Facebook page admin or as a practitioner, someone that's helping other clients, you actually have to be a little more careful on what pages you get added into, because you don't want to get caught up in that. So if you end up getting yourself added onto a page, and this happens often where somebody approaches you as a potential client, you're like, okay, yeah, add me on the page. I'll go in, I'll check it out. I'll do an audit for you. You get in behind the scenes and you go, oh my goodness, they've been doing practices that are not good. There are things here that shouldn't be here. I'm like, I don't think I want to be associated with this page anymore. Well, a lot of us, I know it's like a guilty habit where you get added onto a Facebook page, but then you never remove yourself. You just leave it. You have tons and tons of pages that you are an admin on that are no longer applicable to you. I would say now is a really good time for you to go and do some housekeeping. Get yourself off any Facebook account and Facebook ad account. Remember, they're two separate things that no longer pertain to you and your business. If you don't have any business case for being on there, then it's probably a good time to remove yourself off of being an admin. And just for those reasons, I mean, all it takes is for somebody. All it takes is for a business you've been working with to hire an administrator that now has the keys to the palace on posting on Facebook, and they don't know what they're doing. They're posting wrong things. And now, I mean, this is quite an exaggerated example, but still, you don't want to have that ad account or that Facebook page getting shut down, and you now as an admin getting associated with that and caught up with that, and then potentially having your other pages examined or shut down, etc. I know that's an exaggeration, but this is a really, really good point in time to know that it's time to go do some housekeeping on your Facebook pages that you're an administrator on.
It's basically like the Marie Kondo of your Facebook business page, y'all, okay? Like, if those clients did not spark joy, that's why you got rid of them, okay? Like, you don't need them in your ads account. You don't need them in your business manager. So delete, erase, bye. Bye, Felicia. Bye, right? Do that. It's so funny because, like, whenever Amanda does her thing, she's like, I'm a business, and I'm like, let me break it down for all my Southside folks. It's the Marie Kondo spark joy in your ad account, okay? Clean it up.
I love how we've touched on the Marie Kondo Spark Joy. We've had an egg to kick off the show, and we touched on the Fire Festival. I mean, is there anything else that happened this week in social media that we have not incorporated into the show?
I know, but this
I
is like
think
the most
so.
epic show ever because we did everything. Like Mike put together the outline of like where we're gonna cover. We pretty much covered everything. So
There's one thing we didn't cover though
what is
that
that?
I'm really excited about is that the Netflix app has now integrated a way that you can share the Netflix creative right onto your Instagram story. So if you're inside the Netflix app, and I did an example on my own Instagram, so go check it out in the next 24 hours in my stories, where if you're in the Netflix app, you can click into the video that you want, click on the share, and then click on share to your Instagram stories. And I think it's really a neat feature.
But it's only for iOS users right now.
Right
So
now.
Android users do not have it. And so what it does, is it shares almost like a cover image of that show, movie, whatever it is you're watching.
In
So
story
it's
format.
it's not sharing a clip or anything like that. It's just sharing a component that says, and then you can, talk about the fact that you're watching this. You just sat down to binge watch, like you're on, season 3, episode 5, and you're losing your mind or whatever it is. But I think this is a really good way that will help open dialogue for people. People are always looking for what new show should they be watching on Netflix, or there's, the cult followings around certain shows that are going on. Even if it's like, the Marie Kondo or whatever it is, like, whatever people are watching. But to be able to share that and talk about it and again, generate that real form of engagement. From a brand perspective, you want to be a little bit selective with this and maybe not post all of these things depending on what your brand is and does. But it is something that can help generate conversation with your audience in a way that is very natural and organic because everyone else is probably watching the same shows and that sort of thing. So it's definitely cool. A lot of people are excited about it. It was a kind of a quiet release. Like it came out in a couple articles. I think like Mashable was one of them and one other, but it wasn't like widely really announced in any capacity. It was just like all of a sudden it was there. But yeah, it's everyone that has tried it like really loves it. And we'll see what that does in terms of, long-term growth and conversation for essentially both platforms, but at least with your own audience.
Phil Gerbyshek made a really interesting observation yesterday. Instagram's owned by Facebook. Facebook has been trying really, really hard to push Watch as a platform to watch totally unique, original video content. Does it make sense now that Instagram, owned by Facebook, is allowing Netflix users to promote Netflix on that platform? I thought that was really curious. You'd think Facebook would do that with Watch first. I would be able to be looking at a video on Watch and share that to my Facebook story and share that to my Instagram story and create more buzz and opportunity for the Facebook Watch platform.
The thing is, I don't think anyone would do it. I think they were smart with this. Netflix is such, and Hulu can try to compete, and at least they have some quality content for sure, but it is called Netflix and chill for a reason. It's become a brand name associated with a verb. You Netflix. It is a thing in and of itself, regardless of the fact of whether you're watching Netflix or another platform. And if they had done it with Facebook Watch or any other platform, I don't think it would have had success. People would have been like, oh, that's kind of cool. But especially with like going into the Oscars and everything that's been going on with, all the award nominations and everything, we're in award season that Netflix is getting for all of those shows. They have so much unique content that people are, freaking out over and binge watching, and it's the cult followings about it. That's the stuff that they're going to share to their stories. And I think Instagram, aka Facebook, was smart in saying, how do we get people to do this in a way that they're going to do it? So get them to do it with Netflix, and then they can introduce other things later when people are in the habit of doing it, because they'll build the habit off of Netflix. They won't build the habit off of Facebook Watch. Just my opinion.
Jen has spoken.
Muted stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't hear stuff. She's like,
I was totally messing with you. Just want to see if you're paying attention, because I haven't been getting any love. Because we said that we were going to talk about trends, and for some reason we talked about everything except me. So let's talk about the viral egg. What is this all about?
Are we sure we're ready to talk about the egg?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about the egg.
We can talk about the egg.
there was an egg that obviously made some splash. Probably most of you watching saw it. That it was trying to get the record for likes, which it's really not a real thing anyways. And it was just an egg. It was just a funny thing that happened. People started liking the egg, like any other viral thing that happens. It's funny. People were entertained by the whole thing. But what was interesting, and this plays into the influencer marketing thing that was going on before, some people thought that they should try to hijack this little egg phenomenon and change their profile picture and their profile name to resemble or even be that egg. And so that was one of the things that went down actually last week. And it was very interesting to see who decided that that would be a smart idea on their part as a marketer to hijack something else that's going on in that way, and the blowback that they received on other platforms about what they had done.
I'm not going to get into any trouble for being an egg right now, am I?
No. But okay, so how does that, okay, and how does that differ from newsjacking? Because like Mike, you talk about this all the time in terms of blogging, and how if something is trending in the news, then you should go ahead and write something about it. You could do a spin off of it, like Marie Kondo, like that's a huge thing right now. Everyone was talking about spark joy in your home, but now spark joy in your Facebook business manager, right? How is that different?
Well,
I love that question. Go ahead.
Okay, I was just going to say, and I can't remember any of the examples off the top of my head. I've read a bunch of them over the last week in response to the egg. But a lot of companies that actually have eggs as their product jumped on the bandwagon of being in the egg squad. Is it egg squad? What was the egg gang? That's what it was, egg gang.
Egg gang?
I had squad in my mind because of our squad.
You got yolks? You got yolks,
right.
Jen Harmon? Okay.
But it was this whole thing that a lot of people did capitalize on it in a way that did relate to their brands. And I think that ties to the newsjacking. When it's relevant to what you do, it's a tie. When you can turn around and say, like you're literally an egg farm. Well, okay, it makes sense for you to talk about the fact that there's a viral egg. Like that actually relates. So there's things that tie in, and the newsjacking is okay. And like I said, I wish I had the examples off the top of my head, but I can't remember them. There were other organizations, like even like fast food organizations that jumped in on it, that, were talking about it. But again, they're food companies. It ties in. It's when people that have nothing, or brands that have nothing to do with this, that are basically just trying to capitalize on it in some sort of negative way, just for the pure sake of saying, oh, well, I'm going to use this to my advantage. That's when it crosses that line of kind of like, is this really what we want to do? Is this really like Mike said, there was a lot of blowback there for people that did do it. And it's not like it was one person. You could literally go to Instagram and look for world record egg, and you would see rows upon rows of other accounts that all of a sudden were trying to, someone tried to do what was like the world record tomato or something like that. Like everyone tried to jump on it because it was viral and everyone wanted that momentum. But it's at that point, if it's not relevant to what you do, you've gone too far and you're trying too hard, and the response will usually be negative.
They're just trying to capitalize on Stephanie's food funnel. That's really what this is about.
Yeah, we excuse. We got food funnel. We could have used the egg.
Does anybody else have an opinion on how, us as marketers, we work really hard. We work really hard with our clients. We work really hard with the content that we produce, that we work on to reach people and connect with the people that we need to connect with. Is anybody else just a little bit irked that an egg, it's just an egg,
yes,
picked up and actually had reach? Anybody else feeling that?
It's not that I'd say I'm irked per se, but I mean, it's one of those things where it is, and this is the problem that causes us as consultants and social media managers the biggest headache, because then our clients come to us and go, well, why can't we do that?
If an egg can go viral, how come you can't make us go viral?
Yeah, and here we are banging our heads against a wall, being strategic and creating quality content and doing all the right things, and an egg just smashes every record imaginable and blows up the entire world of expectation. So
you crack me up.
So, I mean, it is it's frustrating, but in the same turn, I think a lot of people were more frustrated because they're like, this is stupid and this is irrelevant and why is this what people care about? But in the same turn, it's like, this is proof of what social media is. People wanted to be a part of something. People wanted to somehow Like, they were like, I want to help break this record. And so it brought people together. Even though it was stupid and ridiculous and who cares about an egg, it gave people something to participate in. And social media is about that level of community and participation. And I think a lot of lessons can come out of it if you do it the right way. That doesn't mean we're all going to go be eggs unless, you know, we start using our snap filters and we're all eggs. But
what's wrong with being an egg? It's the chicken or the egg.
I'm going to jump in just on the whole exciting news thing before we're done, because Snap Camera, by the way, released another update. So if you haven't had the opportunity to go and download the updated Snap Camera, just go and do it.
All right, Mike, any thoughts on
there we go.
On the egg? Did it bug you?
No, in fact, I would just encourage people who get upset about stuff like that to remember those kinds of things are not business.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's totally for fun. It's totally for personal interest and entertainment. That is not business. It does not drive business results. Those people that change their profile pic and they change their name, they did not generate business results. They did not generate leads, traffic, or sales as a result of that activity. And so for me, you know, Steph, you asked a question about, you know, how does this compare to newsjacking? A lot of it's intent, right? If I am newsjacking something, I am not doing it for my own personal benefit. I am doing it to help my readers and my audience. I want to tell them about something that has happened and relate it to them in a way that mainstream media won't. Mainstream media is mainstream by definition, and they're trying to share what's happened with the masses. I have my own little niche audience. They're interested in creating content and using that for their business. And so when I talk to them, that's the mindset, that's the perspective that I'm taking. So that's what I think. That's the difference that has gotten some people confused about these kinds of things.
You know, I think with all of these updates, the transparency tools, being able to see the ads, even the whole egg stuff, it just reminds me of like black hat SEO back in the day and white hat SEO. It's like we're now seeing that in social. And, you know, Facebook is just one of the first companies that's trying to do their best in weeding out all of that stuff and weeding out all the bad eggs. Sorry, I love it.
Oh my God.
But it's been an hour and we got to wrap up the show. Are there any last words that you guys want to go ahead and share with the 360 crew? Because what is 360? And Jen, I know you've been talking all day, but it's been a while.
I lifted my voice, girl.
Oh, I got you. It's all you. What is 360?
I got you. You just have to talk some more. So, as I say it in my scratchy voice, so 360 Marketing Squad is the four of us. You get a 360-degree marketing solution for all of $5 a month. You get to join our Facebook group where all of these shenanigans go on and a whole lot more. But we have regular grouped training events, so we'll do like live videos. Mike has done like office hour type things where you can ask questions. You can post any question in the group and us and other group members will answer. We offer tips and resources and articles and everything that you need so that you have a 360-degree perspective. Mike is our content strategy guru genius. He's all the amazing things. Amanda is all of our Facebook ads, chatbots, all of those kind of things. I am your Instagram girl and that sort of stuff. And then Stephanie Liu is live video and Facebook as well. And we'll cover YouTube and Twitter and all those other things in there as well. But we bring a completely different component. You've got the creatives, you've got the strategists, you have all of us in the group to bring you all the different components. And I have to say, because we have to give a shout out to the one and only testimony, but the one like best testimonial we got this week, which was amazing. So Stephanie, why don't you tell them about that testimonial? Because it was amazing, and it was thanks to really your live strategies.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Like it literally gave me goosebumps, and I'm so sorry that like Mitch isn't here, but Mitch is in Kauai. And Mitch shared this really wonderful testimonial about how he's been listening to all of the live video tips, and he just implemented a couple of those tips. And over the last 30 days, he's been bringing in an additional $1,000 a day. Think about that. Do the math. That's $30,000.
But we haven't even touched on the best part of this. How much does this cost?
Oh, that's true. Jen?
How much does the 360 Marketing Squad cost?
$5, people. That's it. So Mitch is making an extra $30,000 a month because he invested $5 a month. Like, I don't know what better ROI I can possibly give you. So I'm going to just drop it. I'm done.
That's it.
Mic drop. Well, thank you, Jana.
360marketingsquad.com, 360marketingsquad.com. Everything you need to know. Sign up, register, join us over in Facebook. We want to have you hang out with us.
That's very true.
One other quick thing. Those of you watching, you may have noticed that we kind of changed up the format of the show. We didn't have like a single social media topic that we wanted to talk about for the entire hour. We talked about news and topics. And I would love to know, what did you think? Did you like this format? Should we continue doing it this way? Should we change things up again in 2 weeks? Let us know in the comments.
And Snapcam yes or Snapcam no. If it's annoying, we will stop. If you like it, we will customize all of our filters for you.
I'll find a way to make it work if you want it.
Love it.
Love it, love it, love it. Okay, one more thing real quick. I just want to say, we'll end the show now. Okay, I'm going to push end, and it's going to end. I hope it ends. Okay, bye! Bye!
Bye!